Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for The French Dispatch, which is the latest, strangest movie from Wes Anderson. This movie is actually pretty difficult to describe in simply one sentence, but I'll try to sum it up as best as I can. The movie is about a fictional American magazine whose main offices are in France, and their editor-in-chief, played by Bill Murray, dies. That's the beginning of the movie, so don't cry spoilers. And the rest of the movie can be summed up as 3 short films, all of them surrounding journalists that work at the French Dispatch. The first segment is about an artist who has been locked up for homicidal murder. The second one is about an uprising in youth culture. And the third one is about a kidnapping. I feel like the best way that I could just sum up this movie is that it's a Wes Anderson movie. He's such an auteur director that if you just say it's a Wes Anderson movie, people might get an idea of what to expect. Or maybe not, because his movies are just so bizarre. Which makes this kind of a difficult film to review, because personally for me, I like the movie a lot. I don't love this movie the way I do something like Grand Budapest Hotel, but in terms of his filmography, this movie has a lot more in common with Grand Budapest Hotel than it does with something like Isle of Dogs. And it's got all the traditional quirky Wes Anderson traits that you can think of. It's got the static cinematography with the interesting camera pans. It's got the different aspect ratios. Sometimes the movie's in black and white, sometimes the movie's in color. It's got the quirky characters, and pretty much most of the Wes Anderson regulars pop up in this movie. Bill Murray, he's here. Owen Wilson, yep. Tilda Swinton, you know it. Adrien Brody, present and accounted for. Jason Schwartzman, yeah. Willem Dafoe, well, it wouldn't be a Wes Anderson movie without him. And the cast is just spectacular, like it is with all of his movies. Whether it's people he's been working with on pretty much every movie he's done, whether it's people he just started working with, like Saoirse Ronan or Léa Seydoux, or people who are new to this movie, like Benicio del Toro, Elizabeth Moss, Jeffrey Wright. Every cast member in this movie is spot on, and of course because it's a Wes Anderson movie, they all have a very dry sense of humor, and they know how to deliver their lines to perfection. The movie is just so entertaining to watch, not just because of the actors, but because the way this movie looks. Wes Anderson's cinematography is always just so fascinating to watch because he uses a lot of unique camera tricks. His shots are just so static to where sometimes it looks like he's just using models. It's really charming to watch. However, I can't imagine some of his tricks getting old pretty quickly, and this really is for his hardcore fan base, because out of all of his films, this might be the most Wes Anderson-y, if that's a word, which it's not, because all of his stylistic quirks and all of his traits are just cranked up to 11, sometimes to points where it becomes a little inconsistent. Sometimes there are segments where the aspect ratio will change, or it'll turn from black and white to color for just one shot in a segment, and then just goes back to what it was originally presented in, which in a sense is a little bizarre and makes the movie a bit scatterbrained when you compare it to something like Grand Budapest Hotel, which that movie itself is wacky already, but it felt a little more consistent and straightforward by comparison of this. The movie is essentially The New Yorker, the motion picture, and that's something that Wes Anderson has said in interviews, that this movie is pretty much based off of his love for that magazine. And I don't read The New Yorker, so I will just take his word for it. But when you see the way this movie is shot, when you see some of the alternate posters, and even when you get to some of the film's animated sequences, I won't say any more than that, you can't help but think of The New Yorker. And it's just a very charming movie. I was very entertained from beginning to end. It made me laugh consistently. Nothing that made me laugh hard like in Grand Budapest Hotel, but it's certainly worth seeing in your lifetime. If you feel like you're starting to get a little tired of Wes Anderson and his style, I don't think this movie will entirely do it for you. But if you've been sticking with his films for this long, or you just admire quirky and bizarre movies in general, then The French Dispatch will definitely do it for you. I don't think this is going to make my top 10 list. I don't love it that much, but considering how great of a year 2021 has been for movies, I might have to do more than a top 10. I may have said that before in another video, but we'll see what the end of the year brings us. And there you go, that's my review for The French Dispatch. I hope you enjoyed it. And now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for The French Dispatch. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.